let's get into it. Stuttering John Show. What'd you think, Kevin?
Well, Stuttering John is a guy I haven't really thought about in a lot of years.
Right.
Being a long Stern Show listener, he left a long time ago, and I never really quite paid attention to what he was doing. But this show, in a nutshell, is just him. It's just bad feelings from him, like for whatever, an hour and a half.
All right, I'm going to set this up. I want to, if there's people out there who don't know why Stuttering John is a thing, I'm just going to go real quick through what that is, starting off with classic Stuttering John. When he was on the Howard Stern Show, he was the guy who they would send off to the red carpet events and different things to interview celebrities and ask ridiculous questions. One of my favorite moments of all time is this. Here's the setup.
I have maybe the greatest piece of tape you'll ever hear.
Oh, are we talking about the Ringo Starr press conference?
Did you hear any of it?
No, I've only heard what they had on the news.
There was a huge press conference yesterday for Ringo Starr and Joe Walsh and stuff. And Stuttering John, I heard a majority of the press conference. And Stuttering John asked 2 questions, and it was real funny.
Uh-huh.
And I went home, and I didn't know, and none of us knew, but we rolled tape on it anyway. John got to a 3rd question.
All right, so that sounds like shit, but they're talking about the fact that he was at the Ringo Starr press conference. This has to be in the late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, that would be my guess,
Yeah. So this is when Stuttering John was full-time with Howard Stern. You hear Jackie laughing, and this is going old school. This is his greatest accomplishment, Stuttering John's greatest accomplishment of all time, talking to Ringo Starr.
Yeah, all right, it's kind of a fun question. What did you do with the money?
What money?
The money that your mom gave you for singing lessons.
Oh, this is the worst.
This was one of the greatest jokes of all time. So funny. So that's what Stuttering John was known for. He would go out and ask ridiculous questions. He'd go up to celebrities and say, who are you and why are you famous? Which pisses people off to no end when you're a celebrity. Yeah. Eventually, though, people would recognize him. They'd know it was Stuttering John from Howard Stern, and he wasn't able to get into these events. They wouldn't accept his press credentials. So he just became a bit character on the show that really didn't have a role on the show for Howard Stern, other than he was just kind of a guy in the back office who would rip on Gary or just bring shit up that he heard from Scott the engineer and come into the studio and mix things up. And then, obviously he was fodder for all of the people on the show, but he didn't really have anything going on.
We should probably qualify it that he used to stutter. That was like...
Well, you heard it in that clip. Yes, he was definitely a nervous Nelly.
Yeah.
He was not comfortable talking to celebrities and asking them ridiculous questions. He stayed around on Howard Stern's show for a while, and then eventually he got his big break, quote unquote. Jay Leno hired him to be the announcer for The Tonight Show. I have just some quick clips just to bring us back. He did audition tapes using Scott the engineer at Howard Stern. So, of course, they saved these tapes to play them later on the show. And this is the Stern cast going back and listening to this guy's audition tapes to be an announcer for The Tonight Show. I mean, that's a ridiculous job for a stutterer. But and he definitely did not deserve it. Listen to this.
It's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, featuring Kevin Eubanks and The Tonight Show Band. And me, I'm Stuttering John. Tonight, Jay welcomes Pamela Anderson, Harrison Ford, the music of Stained. And I f***ed it up. I didn't want to do the same. Is that too over the top?
So this is him auditioning for this job with Jay Leno. You heard him pronounce Pamela Anderson's name wrong.
Pamela Anderson.
They keep playing that part over and over again, and Artie's just losing his shit.
Tonight, Jay welcomes Pamela Anderson, Harrison Ford,
every time.
The music of Stained, and I f***ing f***ed it up. Give me a band, Scott. Yeah, I already did Simon Garfunkel.
You can't think of a
Simon
band?
Garfunkel.
So my favorite clip from when they were goofing on his auditions is when he tries to say Nicolas Cage. Do you remember this, Kevin?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Well, one more clip and then we'll get into his podcast.
And me, I'm Stuttering John. Tonight, Jay welcomes Nicolas Cage, Kate Hudson, and comedian Greg Giraldo. And now, Jay Leno!
Yeah, John, listen, I got your tape.
How did Greg Giraldo get on my show?
Listen, you
You can't say the nigger word.
You said the N-word in your tape.
You said nigger.
Listen, John, I got the joke tape. That was very funny.
Yeah, now can you do a real
Maybe
announce?
that's what he meant by over the top.
John, do you think you could say Nicholas?
Nig. What?
That's better.
Why don't you just go, and my
it out.
cunt.
Sound it out.
Ne.
All right, so that's the Artie era of Stern when it was good, and those
Yes.
guys having some fun with that. All right, so that sets it up. That's who Stuttering John is. Stuttering John went to the Tonight Show. Jay Leno obviously is no longer on the show. The whole staff is gone, and John, being a talentless hack, was left with nothing to do. And now he just started a podcast where it's him talking to his iPhone for 50 minutes. And that's all it is.
Yeah, it's a very hard listen because there's only what 6 episodes so far.
Yeah,
and you could tell he's learning as he goes because I was looking at their the web page for the show and they're all named incorrectly.
Right, it's not. There's no consistency at all. This one was episode 4, but there was another episode that was called episode 4. They have no idea what they're doing. They keep changing the name of the podcast. I think it's called the Stuttering John Podcast, but I don't even know. Do you have a clip that you want to play that maybe sums up the show for people so we can finally get into it?
You can start out. Yeah, just start out with clip 1.
Okay.
Because this is right off the bat. If you're gonna broadcast or whatever, I'd use that in air quotes. But if you're gonna talk into a microphone and make a show out of it, clear your fucking throat before you do so.
Welcome to the Stuttering John Podcast. How are you, my friends?
That's the first thing he says. You could easily go back and fix that. All right, let me start that again.
It sounds like the goldfish from Pee-wee's Playhouse. Those goldfish are all right, Pee-wee.
All right, I actually have the same clip, but I go a little bit further because I want to point something out.
Welcome to the Stuttering John Podcast. How are you, my friends? That's right, I'm trying to get on a daily schedule. Every Tuesday, I will record my podcast, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Every Tuesday, he's going to record his podcast. That's not a daily schedule. That's a weekly schedule.
That's called weekly. Yeah.
That's called weekly. Every Tuesday. Holy shit.
Every Tuesday, I'll talk about Pamela Anderson and
Nicolas Cage. He talks about. That's the other thing about this show, Kevin, is that the reason why Stuttering John was even employed by Howard is because he had a stutter.
Right.
He doesn't stutter. So what's the fucking point? He's just a boring person talking to his iPhone. Exactly. He starts off the show plugging the book that he's writing, or maybe he's already written it, or I don't know. But he talks about this chapter in his book. It's about, of course, Howard Stern, because what do you want to read about from Stuttering John? Not the boring people in his life, the celebrities that he knows. And I just don't think this is a good way to promote a book that you want people to buy.
I was doing my chapter on Howie's single life. Talking about when about how we first found out about Howard's divorce and then the girls he had after. There's stuff in there I'm probably going to have to take out because I'm going to get sued, but it's true.
So, all right, I have this whole chapter about that period of time when Howard was single, where he was having all these girls like, oh, okay, I want to know who those girls were and what was going on. I'll probably have to take it all out. Okay, and then why would I buy your book?
Well, exactly.
What kind of selling point is that?
So many fucking people are writing books now. He talks a lot about that. Everyone's got a goddamn book coming out. Fucking Casey Armstrong
has a book coming out. Yeah, I know. I have some shit about that. He talks about, he's pissed at everyone. He's pissed at Artie Lang, very pissed at Artie Lang. Yeah. He's pissed at Anthony Cumia. He's been on Anthony's show a few times. He was on, I think, with Artie and Anthony. But this I thought was interesting. He's talking about how Anthony Cumia is writing a book, and he's goofing on the fact that Anthony would write a book.
Anthony's coming out with a book, I see. What is it called? Instead of Moby Dick, just call it Dick. I mean, because and I don't even know. I don't know. Is he that popular? I mean, I'm not saying I am, but at least I was on a national show for fucking 15 years. I mean, isn't he just a local? I mean, wasn't he a local DJ? I think he might have been on 2 or 3 markets, maybe New York and Boston, maybe Philly. I don't know.
Whoa. This is Stuttering John saying Anthony Cumia isn't famous enough to write a book. It's Anthony from the Opie and Anthony show. It wasn't Howard and Stuttering John. He was a fucking bit character on Howard Stern's show. And he goes, oh, wasn't he a local DJ who's in those 3 markets? He was on XM radio, you fucking idiot. Sirius XM. Do you know what satellite radio? Do you know who gets satellite radio? Everyone. Everyone who subscribes to it. The fuck is this guy talking about?
Yeah, I don't. He does a lot of that where he kind of tries to put himself kind of above. Like he's putting down everybody, and then he's like, yeah, but I love you. And
right.
It's really weird to me because at some point, and I don't know if this is just because whatever, he's from fucking Staten Island or Long Island or whatever, but he sounds like Dice.
Staten Island or Long Island or one of those islands.
One of those fucking islands.
Jekyll Island, one of those
Manhattan.
islands. Right.
Yeah. No, but he sounds like Dice.
Right.
You know how like he's got like, and I'm trying to figure out if he's doing it on purpose or if that's just how he fucking talks now. But God, I have a lot of clips. For me, I have a lot of fucking clips.
You do.
Yeah, he's got, so play number 2, this is just him kind of, I don't know, talking more about like how people are putting him down.
Okay.
When you say, I'd be nothing without Howard, now that may be true. I mean, he gave me my start.
Okay. So he's got this thing he needs to prove himself.
Yeah.
His entire podcast is devoted to proving his own worth. Because he was hired as this dummy who stutters. That's why he's famous. And unfortunately, Jay Leno hired him for a job he wasn't qualified for. And now he's delusional.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Dude, he is so delusional. And I'm sure you and I have very similar clips that go through him proving to the world that he deserves to be famous and that he's very talented.
Yeah, God. Yeah, so if you play my track 3, he does a lot of name dropping, which then he calls out other people for name dropping, which is fucking hilarious to me.
Okay, all right.
They don't know that I write jokes. I've written for Jay Leno for 10 years. I've written for, I was the head writer of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast.
Yeah, I have that one too. I love how far that drops off. I wrote for Jay Leno. I was a writer for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast. Like that went down quick.
Yeah, I have a clip here. It's called Depression Scale. If you start, it's number 10, and it goes through. It's really funny, like the highs to the bottom fucking lows of his career.
Because I went through depression. After you come off the Stern Show, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, the Tonight Show, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast, the Stephanie Miller Show, Bite Size TV. You're on all these shows, and then suddenly, like you're not working, you get depressed.
Yeah, I would bet. I would bet you fucking crash back to earth and realize you're a nobody who has no talent. Yeah, it's got to be tough.
It's the sharpest drop off since fucking Bitcoin. It just like, it just fucking plummets.
I want to go back real quick to what he was talking about, how he was a joke writer. He throws out there that he wrote jokes for Jay Leno and Jeff Ross and the head writer for this roast. And was there any evidence during this show, we listened to 50 minutes of him talk, was there any evidence that he can write a joke, Kevin?
Oh, no. I mean, it's case in point of when he was talking about Anthony, and he goes, yeah, you're going to write a joke, write a book, just call it Moby Dick. Don't call it Moby Dick, call it Dick. It's
right. So that was an attempt at a joke. Here I have, this is at the very end of his show. This is his big joke in the show. And it is such a fucking hack joke.
I mean, I got a tweet the other day saying, this woman was like, you're an asshole, you suck, I've always hated you. And that was from my mother.
Oh. So he realized he didn't set it up right. So he had to go back. He's like, this guy's like, oh, no, okay, I got it. All right. This woman says, you suck. I hate you. And I was like, come on, Mom. Right? Like, that, everyone's done that joke. That's not a good joke. And actually, I want to go back to him talking about Anthony Cumia's book, because he talks about what the tentative book title is, and then he's ready to riff. He is going to crush it.
What is it, fucking permanently suspended? I don't know. There's so many I could do. I don't want to get him too upset, though.
Epic fail.
I love that he goes, oh, yeah, the name is permanently suspended. So it was like a chip moment. Okay, what's the joke? What do you got? He goes, I don't want to piss him off. I got so many things I could say, but I'm not going to do it. Just one, John. Just give us one. One joke.
Give us a joke.
Give us a joke that maybe is funny. Nothing. And it's not like he didn't have time to prepare for this shit. What else is he doing in his life besides recording this podcast?
He's reliving his fucking glory days, because I have a few clips here where he kind of he walks back. Now he's bitching about Artie. Like quite.
I'm so glad you said that, Kevin. I am so ready for that. That's all I have is Glory Days clips. That's what this entire show is about. He just talks about back when he was famous and people gave a shit about him. All right, what do you got?
This isn't even famous. This is just, all right, play track 4. This is kind of sets it up, I guess.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
I mean, you never really know. I mean, I was getting A's in all my films at NYU, probably the most prestigious film university in America. Some might argue UCLA, some might argue USC, but
yeah, I had that clip too, and I wrote down proof that he would have made it without Howard Stern, because he's talking about the fact that people think I'm just famous because Howard Stern brought me on as Stuttering John, but I was getting A's in college. Like, what is that? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? What the fuck are you talking about? Here's him explaining that he does have talent.
I know it's hard for some Stern fans to swallow, to think that maybe I do have talent, but I do. I'm sorry.
No, you are sorry. You don't. After he explains that he does have talent, because he has to prove himself, right? He goes into these fucking stories that are mind-boggling, and he's not joking. This is real.
And the truth is, I started out like we all did in our elementary school, playing the recorder, which is like the fucking flute. And then I moved on to trumpet, where I became an all-district trumpet player. In second grade, I was playing with the 5th and 6th graders. I learned how to read music in second grade. But all he kept talking about is glory days.
He's going back to second grade because Artie Lake said he wasn't a musician. So he goes back and he goes, oh, really, Artie? I'm not a musician? I was playing trumpet with 5th graders when I was in second grade. What?
Oh, there's also this gem, too. Play track 5.
Okay.
And then, I was in chorus in all district, and I had a solo every year.
He had a solo every year. I mean, come on.
I had a friend was a big baseball player back in high school.
All right, it doesn't stop there, Kevin. He then talks about the how he's great at comedy. So we all know he's an amazing musician. He played trumpet and read music when he's in second grade. But what about his comedy chops? He's known for being the stand-up comedian now. And he says, well, obviously I have comedy chops.
And it's just, for him to say something like that. And, I was never a comedian. Well, Artie, I was making comedy films as soon as I got my first Super 8mm camera when I was in freaking 4th grade. And, I wrote my first sketch in junior high in 6th grade. And we got an A on it. It was called The Smothered Brother.
Did Stuttering John just brag about an A he got in 6th grade?
He sure did.
And he was telling Artie Lang that Artie Lang is wrong about how funny he is. Like, just so you know, Artie, you might think you know comedy. My teacher in 6th grade gave me an A on a film I made.
Glory days.
Is this guy fucking nuts? What the fuck is wrong?
I made a movie called The Smothered Brother. Glory days.
So then he goes on to talk about his acting. And apparently, when he was in 1st grade, he was the best actor. You would think that I'm making up this setup. But listen to this shit. And he's being serious.
I was never an actor. I was a star of the show in the little carrot seat. I know it sounds crazy. Why am I defending myself? But in 1st grade, and it got aired on public television. They liked it so much, they put it on TV. And I was in 1st grade, and I knew all the lines. I would give the other actors their lines in case they forgot while we were on stage.
This is insane. Kevin, I don't remember anything I did in 1st grade. Nothing I did in 1st grade was important or meaningful. Nothing I did in any of my fucking life is important or meaningful, but especially not 1st grade.
I was a regular Shirley Temple.
Yeah, I know that's the picture this guy's painting. We are on TV. Public access is not TV. Anyone can put anything on public access. I was picturing that conversation where he's explaining to Artie Lang, who has been in dozens of huge movies, that he's an actor because in 1st grade he knew everyone's lines. And I was just imagining, Kevin, what would it be like if Artie was in the room, maybe Artie and Robin Quivers, and they were having this conversation? How would they respond to that?
Why am I defending myself? But in 1st grade, and it got aired on public television. They liked it so much, they put it on TV.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
What a fucking idiot Stuttering John is. It's unbelievable.
That's a great drop. That should be on everything that we say too.
Well, I could literally picture him having that argument against Artie Lang, because I think Artie went through the same thing with Sale the Stockbroker, when Sale was trying to pretend that he was a talented comedian. It's like, what are you, fucking an idiot? You're a nobody.
Yeah, he does this, like, well, I mean, we've been talking about it, this fucking name dropping thing. So he calls Artie out for name dropping, which is, I have as track 07.
And then, I don't know, Norm McDonald and David Spade. I don't know, any other names you could drop there, Artie? And then Dan Filato, all the Gerdas in his life that keep Judd Apatow and Pete Holmes and I don't know, all his girders.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's immediately followed up by his own take, which is track 8.
I don't know about... I was never a musician. Well, Joe Walsh didn't think that, Artie. I wrote a song with Joe Walsh. I played with Huey McDonald on my album. He was the bass player on my album. For most of the songs. And if you don't know who Huey McDonald is, he's the bass player for Bon Jovi now. Rolling Stone magazine seemed to think so, Artie, you fat snort.
Yeah, I know. What a fucking idiot. It's like Artie's always name dropping. Well, guess what? I hung out with Joe Walsh. Like, John, come on, man. Are you not? He's obviously not listening back to the show, but is he listening to himself while he's talking at all? Is he aware? And again, I want to point out this drop off. I wrote a song with Joe Walsh, and then he says, and this bass player from Bon Jovi was on my album. It's not even the bass player from Bon Jovi. Like, okay, that's you. It fell pretty far just now.
Yeah, even if it was the bass player from, I don't know anybody in Bon Jovi except Bon fucking Jovi. That's the guy I know in that band.
So this is how. Well, come on, Richie Sambora.
All right, okay. Glory days.
This is how he wraps this all up. He's having this long conversation about everything that he's accomplished over all of these different years. So here's the wrap up.
Who knows what I could have done? It could have been.
You would have been a nobody. I know exactly what you could have been. And now we find out why he needs to defend himself and why he has to prove himself and go back to all of these past successes that he's had in first grade and second grade.
But, I could take it with the best of them. Howard goofed to me. Fred goofed to me. Jackie goofed to me. Robin goofed to me. I took it. I took it for a while when Anthony and Artie were goofing on me. But at some point, you fucking got to say, shut the fuck up. Especially when kids are concerned. Especially when my career is concerned. When fucking Artie's main objective seems to discredit my comedy, which is the way I make a living right now.
No, it's not Artie who's discrediting your comedy. It's your comedy that discredits your comedy, John.
I wish you would have went one bar, or one bit further on that clip, because he says comedy, the way I make my living now, comedy, mostly pensions though. I'm like, pensions from what? From fucking The Tonight Show?
Yes, that's exactly right. I happen to know because I've seen John on Anthony Cumia's show, and he's talked about this after the fact. He was making like $80,000 a year working for Howard Stern, living in New York City, which is not a good salary. Right. And Jay Leno offered him like $500,000 a year. So he made the move, and he was making $500,000 a year, which he's lost to his ex-wife. But yeah, when you get that type of gig in Hollywood, you're pretty much set. He's got a pension going. He's going to be fine. But yeah, it's like I make my living off of comedy. Well, mostly that job I didn't deserve is still paying me. I do want to wrap up the Glory Days piece of this review that we're doing. He talks about he wants to revive the thing that made him famous in the first place.
Right now, I'm in the process of raising some money to do the Stuttering John interview show. It's just going to be called Stuttering John Interviews ... I'm only trying to raise like $20,000. I need like 3 camera crews to go on the red carpet. I got to sign up to Celebrity Bulletin again. Find out where all the celebrities are, where they're going to be. Go out there. No one's going to recognize me anymore since this Howard Stern day with the long hair. And start asking the questions. I already talked to one of my Tonight Show buddies and former and partner. He was a writer on the Tonight Show. He was a writer for David Letterman. He's going to also help me write the questions. I'll probably get another writer from the Tonight Show. And we'll craft the questions, hopefully as good as Jackie and Fred did. And I'll go out there and do it again.
All right, so he's talking about... Hold on, before I say that, did Bruce Springsteen just say throw that speedball by you? It's called a fastball. Nobody has a speedball. You have a changeup, a curveball, maybe a slider, a speedball? Anyway, holy shit, that fucking song. It's garbage. So he's talking about the fact that he's going to revive his shtick. I'm going to go out there and interview celebrities and ask them ridiculous questions again. Now, Kevin, if you were this amazing person he's building himself up to be, that you can write jokes and you're hilarious and you've written jokes for all these people, do you really need 2 writers from The Tonight Show to help you come up with questions for celebrities?
Well, not only that, but he said he needs 3 camera crews for the red carpet.
What the fuck is he talking about? This is never going to happen.
He should start with 1 audio engineer for his current podcast.
All right, I want to switch gears real quick. He gets into the current news, and there's a lot of people who have weighed in on this Roseanne Barr thing. You know, you're familiar with this. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I only need 1 hot take, and that is Stuttering John's hot take on this Roseanne Barr situation.
What's wrong with you, Roseanne Barr? You can't be disparaging to women. But she tweets that a woman from the Obama administration looks like an African-American woman that looks like an ape. A combination of an ape or something. What is wrong with you, Roseanne?
You heard it here first, people. The Stuttering John Hot Minute.
He had nothing to say on that. You don't have to bring it up. if you have no take on it whatsoever other than, geez, Roseanne, that was dumb. Like, okay, I think we've all established that.
I wonder what his hot take is about Donald Trump.
Oh, Jesus, do you have that?
I don't.
I don't
But-
either. It got very political for a while. He got into this whole thing about Republicans and Donald Trump, and I just couldn't give a flying fuck about this guy's political views. He's an idiot.
Well, he name drops Trump a shitload too, because he's like, he used to call into the Stern Show. I've been on helicopters with Donald Trump. I've been to dinner with Donald Trump. I know that he was talking about that kid being retarded. That's his type of humor. That's his humor.
Yeah.
I've listened to Bruce Springsteen albums with Donald Trump. All right, I've thrown speedballs by him. All right,
Sorry. Yeah, I know. He acted like they were best friends. It's like, no. You worked for a show that he was a big enough celebrity that he would actually call into the show and get on the air. It has nothing to do with you, John.
He's a huge talent, man. I mean, shit. I learned a lot about Stuttering John listening to this. I mean, he has a very, very solid background going all the way back to grade 2.
Right.
He played the recorder. That's pretty fucking honorable. And I mean, shit. I bow down to this guy now.
What I love is that he's putting out this podcast that we can all agree is garbage. It's unlistenable. He has his bitterness to start off the show and trying to prove that he's talented. And that's the first 30 minutes. And then he starts reading questions from Twitter. And so he's just answering questions. And one of the questions is something like, is the hokey pokey really what it's all about? Like, why are you... Do you have nothing else to do? So then...
Why did he pick that tweet?
I don't know. So then at a certain point, he explains that someday he might create a podcast that's listenable.
I might have news, and it looks. I don't want to. Well, whatever. If that happens, it happens. I might have like a radio type show, an internet radio show coming out very soon, in like 4 weeks. So I guess this is the preamble towards that.
All right. So I'm just going to give a little bit of advice to Stuttering John, because apparently he doesn't know a lot about the entertainment industry. If you're going to launch something, don't start with the worst possible product you could possibly put out and then build towards something that might be good down the road. And I love that he says, yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. In 4 weeks, I might have a really good show. If it happens, it happens. Kevin, when you and I started this show, did we just happen to stumble upon one day we were recording ourselves and we had clips of other podcasts? Like, oh shit, look at what just happened. We just started a new podcast making fun of other people's podcasts. No, you fucking make it happen, you fucking retard. If you want to have a good podcast and a good show where there's a news person on there and you actually have a format and fucking bits that you're doing, then fucking do it. Don't wait for it to happen to you.
This is the most motivational I've ever heard you.
Yeah, I know. I feel like fucking Matt Foley right now. Jesus Christ. But seriously, though, why is he putting out the worst possible product possible? And then he's going, yeah, in 4 weeks I might have a good radio show. You might? I doubt it.
Well,
I'd be surprised.
It sounds to me. Now, I obviously don't know. Jesus, I'm fucking stuttering. I don't know John Melendez. You know what I mean? I don't know this guy. But it seems like shit's kind of been handed to him. He actually calls that out at one point, because I guess Artie used to say that too. Like, he fell into, this successful Stern Show. And then he got this, he wasn't a musician and got a record deal. And then he got, the Tonight Show and he wasn't an announcer. So it's like he's kind of stumbled into a lot of shit and been marginally famous for it. And now here he is, trying to scrape together something and is hoping that he'll fall into something again. And I don't think it's going to happen,
You don't? You don't think it's going to happen,
Yeah.
Kevin? I mean, I don't know if you know this, but he is one of the most talented people who was on the Tonight Show. He talks about all of his contributions.
And the segment guys, they had to go out there on the field and come up with bits, and and I was all of those. I was segment. I was a monologue guy. I mean, monologue was not my. I didn't focus on the monologue. I was more of coming up and creating a lot of segments, and eventually I became a drop-in guy, and I was probably the number one cold open guy, which was like comedy sketches, getting back to my youth.
Getting back to my youth, he was talking about when he was in 6th grade, he was writing comedy sketches. He's like, yeah, then I did it for the Tonight Show, getting back to my youth. But did you hear what he was taking credit for there? He was the fucking Tonight Show announcer. And he's explaining that he was part of the monologue writing, he was doing the bits, he was doing the cold opens, he was writing sketches. And then he explains that, I don't know what a video drop-in is, but I have 2 takes on this clip.
But, you know, then the drop-ins, which were the video jokes. That was one of the ones that made Obama laugh at the White House Correspondents' Center. We literally, if you saw my reel of drop-ins, you would call Artie a fucking idiot. Because it is well-crafted, well-thought-out jokes in a video sense. And it's a niche thing that only, you know, let's face it, out of the 20 guys on Tonight Show, maybe 3 or 4 of us were able to do it.
Holy shit. All right. You heard that clip I just played, Kevin?
Yeah.
All right. Bring your jaw back up towards your mouth.
All right.
Okay. This fucking guy is so delusional. He thinks he's able to write comedy in a way that only a couple of guys who were hired to be writers on The Tonight Show could even figure out, could possibly pull off. And then he's so fucking bitter that he has to make it about Artie Lang. Every single thing he says, he's like, yeah, you know, I used to do this thing that was so great. If you would have seen my reel, yeah, fucking Artie. Yeah, check out my real Artie. Like, Artie's not even listening to this. You're not talking to Artie right now. He doesn't care about your podcast. Who are you talking to? I love that he pretends he's not bitter.
Here's another question from DMAC Killer 7566. Why are you so bitter? Well, I am not bitter, DMAC. I'm not bitter.
Did he just say he's not bitter? That's all he is. That's all this show is he's fucking bitter. It's amazing.
The stuttering rebuttal. That's what this show should be called. He's just responding to the things that no one is aware that's even happening.
Correct.
This is a hard one for a lot of fucking reasons, man. It's number one, it's not good at any kind of measurable scale, and it makes me depressed listening to it, because it's like, this is a guy who thought he had everything and now doesn't have everything, but it's just trying to it's really the fucking song Glory Days personified. It really is that fucking song.
I'm so glad you said that. We were on the exact same page. It's all I could think of when he was talking about all of his accomplishments. And it'd be one thing if he was just talking about the Tonight Show and Howard Stern. Like, that's all I want to hear about from Stuttering John. I don't want to hear about the stand-up show he did at Yuck Yucks in Baltimore. I don't care. But the fact that he went back to when he was a fucking child, or when he was at NYU getting A's on his fucking film tests, that was surprising to me. That was surprising.
Artie's going to hear this and be like, oh, I didn't know that, John.
Right! He's talked to Artie! He's talked to Artie so many times. Doesn't he know that this is not a good argument to make? Artie would be crushing it right now. It's so stupid.
I'm sorry, John. I didn't know that in 6th grade you wrote The Smothered Brother. I didn't know that was you.
Here's a clip that I have. It's from near the end of the episode. He just can't help himself to be boring. He talks about something that happened in high school that couldn't be less interesting.
You know, it's funny. When I was in high school, it was when Reagan was president, and I wrote on the desk like some shit trashing Ronald Reagan, and this guy wrote back to me on the same desk in pencil, you know, you're nothing but a bleeding heart liberal. And I wrote back to him, who the fuck is this? And he wrote back to me, Darryl LaMonica. I knew Darryl LaMonica. He was this fat bastard in like 9th grade. I think I was in 10th. So I said to him, well, I'm Frank Fee. I picked the biggest bully, the tallest, biggest guy that I could think of. I'm Frank Fee, and I'm going to kick your ass. Darryl LaMonica never wrote on that desk again.
That's fascinating. Please, go on.
What the fuck kind of story was that?
How big is this desk that you're writing fucking sentences on it?
So, I mean, what's the interesting part?
I don't understand why he would relay that story where he had to pretend he was someone else to intimidate someone who was just writing on a fucking desk? Is this what we're talking about on your podcast?
I hope Mark LaMonica's like a fucking huge lawyer right now and he just heard these disparaging remarks on a shitty podcast.
Well, I'm hoping that's like 2 or 3 chapters in his book that I cannot wait to pre-order on Amazon, because that sounds amazing.
Day, I wrote on the desk, doesn't the teacher smell? And then somebody wrote back, you smell. And I was like, I'm not the one who smells. You're the one who smells. And this went on for months and months until we filled up all the desks inside the classroom. But then we started writing underneath the desks, where all the gum was and stuff. Is this interesting?
I mean, it actually is more interesting than what I was just listening to this morning. And it sucks because I'm doing double duty now. I had to listen to this Stuttering John show. But we're also doing an Opie segment, and I should have teased that earlier in the show. We do have an Opie segment coming up. So I'm listening to Stuttering John's god-awful podcast telling stories about nothing. And then I have to switch gears and listen to Opie and Vic Henley and Carl Ruiz. And it's fucking torturous. This is my day off. This is the day I don't go to work, and this is what I'm spending my fucking time with.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm complaining.
Hobby.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I'm complaining to you, Kevin. You were smart enough to walk away. I mean, you should not. You should be like, yeah, well, this is the fucking bed you made. All right. I do want to play you this compilation that is the accomplishment compilation. This is all the shit. Actually, it's not even all the shit, but this is just a quick comp of the things that Stuttering John has done that proves that he's a worthful, meaningful person that we should all be very impressed with.
I play pretty good fucking lead guitar on my album if you fucking heard it. Rolling Stone magazine seemed to think so hard of you fat snort. I had my class 3. I had to take a road test in a freaking 26, 30-foot truck where I had to parallel park in that bitch. And I was getting A's in all my films at NYU. As far as I'm concerned, I think Mike Bolchetti is funny as shit. I've written some jokes for Mike. I was in chorus in All District, and I had a solo every year. After you come off the Stern Show, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, The Tonight Show, the Criminal Jabbar Roast, The Stephanie Miller Show, Bite Size TV. You're on all these shows. I would write sketches, and I got to direct the likes of Quentin Tarantino. I became an all-district trumpet player. But I got to direct Jamie Lee Curtis and Jack Black and Adam Sandler and David Spade. I learned how to read music in 2nd grade. A bunch with Kim Kardashian, a bunch with Charlie Sheen. I mean, I got to write and direct so many stars. Sofia Vergara, Hugh Laurie, Terry Bradshaw, like 3 or 4 of them. Phil Jackson. Yes, I wrote a lot of jokes for Howard, but, I killed it on Anthony. And all the producers and directors and staff there always told me how well I did. Keith himself and Anthony himself.
Holy shit, I'm sorry about the length of that. It is all over the place. Could you imagine if you did a show where all you do is talk about everything you've ever accomplished? This is kind of like Bobo from Howard Stern talking about the spelling bee that he won and the grades he used to get when he was like, is Stuttering John now fucking Bobo?
I was hoping you were referring to that Bobo, not the other Bobo from O&A.
Well, I still love Bobo because that Bobo, the other one, is on Chip's show from time to time, and he is fucking amazing.
Yeah. It comes the pre.
Comes the pre.
It comes the pre. During that clip, he refers to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast as what I think is the Criminal Abbar show.
Yeah, I can't pronounce that word shit.
Criminal Abbar show.
The Criminal Jabbar roast.
A couple more clips I want to play, and then we'll talk about Opie. He talks about the fact that Anthony Cumia is a local DJ and has no right writing his own book. Why would he write a book? He was a DJ in New York and Boston. But then he talks about Casey Armstrong. And Casey Armstrong was on the Howard Stern show for a minute in the 90s. Do you remember Casey on the show? What was his thing? He was like a good-looking guy who worked out a lot.
He was a good-looking guy that they kept on claiming they thought he was gay.
Casey was such a bit character on that show. Yeah. He wasn't an important guy. So this is John, right after he talks about how Anthony Cumia should not be writing a joke. Anthony from Opie and Anthony, or should not be writing a book, I should say. He says this.
And lastly, what's Casey Armstrong up to? Apparently, Casey's got a book coming out. I forget what it's called, like Amazing People or whatever, but he's got a book coming out, so God bless him.
All right, so God bless Casey because he's writing a book. I listen to Howard Stern every single day. I could give 3 flying fucks about Casey Armstrong's book. There's no way I would possibly want to read that.
Well, by that definition, you should write a book because you've listened to Howard Stern's show before.
All right. I got one more clip on here that is, again, an example of this amazing joke writer who's written jokes for all the greats.
The 2 strokes happened because of my cholesterol was through the roof. It was probably higher than Artie's weight, and that's hard to beat. But
he is so pissed at Artie. And Artie Lang is on his deathbed at this point. Have you seen Artie Lang's nose recently?
Yeah. Oof,
it's bigger than my face.
Yeah, he's looking pretty rough.
He looks rough. This Stuttering John show is not good. It's not a good show.
It's not fun. It's not funny.
It's not funny. Anything else you want to talk about with John? Any other clips?
No, I mean, it was depressing, honestly, to listen to and to hear. It's one thing to brag about all of the bullshit you supposedly have done, but to me, bragging about writing on the Tonight Show is not something that I would ever do. Because the Tonight Show for Jay Leno's run was a horrific turd. I don't know. He
was talking about he would get a joke on the monologue and how proud he was. I dare you to go back and listen to those Jay Leno fucking monologues. They're the worst jokes. They're not even close. They're not even close to
I'm
funny.
I'm not really sure how that show fucking hung around for as long as it did. Well, I don't know.
There's this thing, Kevin, called the Midwest. There's a lot of fucking people there, and they have zero sense of humor. They just think that if you're smiling and looking at a camera and you hear applause going on, then it's a funny joke just happened. There was no entertainment value in that show.
Yeah, I don't, and that's kind of my opinion of Leno anyway, but people were like, oh, he's edgier in his stand up or whatever, and this was kind of a milquetoast way of doing shit on TV and stuff. But I don't know. Not that I'm a huge fan of Fallon or anything either, because I don't really think that it's ever really been that great of a show. I'm talking about the Tonight Show particularly, but I would never claim that I was like this star writer on the Tonight Show, because it's not generally known as like the biggest fucking, it's not the Carol Burnett show of fucking late night shows. You know what I'm saying?
Well, again, John Melendez is a talentless hack who, for him, that's an amazing accomplishment. He overachieved in life. It's wildly impressive that this stuttering buffoon was able to be this big character on Howard Stern's show and then an announcer on The Tonight Show. It's remarkable. But the sad thing is that it's left him delusional and bitter. And that's what's sad about this whole thing. That's why it's depressing to listen to his show. Because you listen to it and you go, oh, this is a guy who thinks highly of himself. And he shouldn't. He shouldn't think so highly of himself.
Who are these podcasts?